And your brother said he invited soda, and they said they're not getting paid no more for the machine. If they would have left you with the machine, they had to give you the bill, and that shit costs a lot of money. So you have to go to your doctor to get another machine.
Okay.
The puzzle, even though it is overlooked, forsook, and counted out by the ignorant and the mindless who fail to take into account all the factors of reality. Believing in spookisms and schisms amounts to nothing. The fool seeks nothingness and embraces nothingness. Nothingness is vanity and corruption. We must seek the substance of life called wisdom. Wisdom is the application of intelligence. Wisdom is a form of matter because wisdom operates solely in the physical realm of matter. Wisdom solves matters and makes matters more manageable. Wisdom is all that truly matters. The main matter we should focus on is the now. The now is reality, and reality is life. Life has a shadow named death. Existence flows from life to death, and death to life, giving birth to legends and legacies which are forever sealed in the book of life. Great names and prominent empires die and fade away into the wind. But that mighty wind has returned with the wrath and the power, the breath of life, fueling the fire, the newly enhanced mind, and resurrecting the principles of the ancients. The breath of life is the spirit of the truth, spreading the supreme energy and good news of hope to the four corners of the planet Earth. The truth is godliness. The science of godliness is integrity. Integrity is being true to yourself. The sincere heart is the moral compass of reality. Sincerity has almost become extinct. The way people think has gone totally against the original nature of man. We act like animals, primitive and wild. Having no logical culture has put man on the same level as beasts. Love, peace, and happiness has been excluded from today's aims and objectives. Greed has diluted the brain, and hate has corrupted the soul. Death has become appealing to the eye and tasty to the tongue. The poisons of death has zombified man and turned humanity into an idiotic puppet. Today's reality has become the night of the living dead. The apocalypse is here, and the hourglass indicates that the end times are upon us. The world as we knew it has come to an end. Life will never be the same. The simple things that once were will never be again. The happy days have faded away. Now we must brace ourselves for the day of reckoning. Where is the Messiah the people seek? Where is the wise man from the east? I must confess that the Messiah they seek will come from the streets. He's on the corner and in the wickedest parts of hell, battling against the oppressor. The chosen one comes in common clothes and uses common speech so he can relate to the common people of the street, using the vices of chaos to free the masses, using basic universal principles to elevate the people and cultivate unity. The Savior has arrived. The shepherd and the keeper of the flock has the key of knowledge to unlock the mind. He dwells amongst the populace and needs no disguise. He wears no mask and needs no cloak. He's the underdog, the outcast, the common man from the common folk. Clarity comes to those who want to think clearly. Thinking realistically comes with much heartache and difficulty. It is hard to accept truth in life as it is. Many prefer illusion. Many prefer anything else than what really is. Word to the wise. Peace to the gods and earths.
I ain't gonna lie, that was pretty tight. That was pretty tight. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, welcome everybody to the daytime New Black Media. My name is Seduction Doll, and I'm with my twin brother RAHMEL Understanding and brother Yenga Nkrumah.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is the Revolutionary Agenda. We're also joined with Brother Che Nkrumah. Also, Jesse LaShawn Paris, running for mayor of Denver, 2023. I cannot hear you, my brother. Turn it up a little louder. Okay. Can you hear him, Yenga? Can you hear Che?
No.
Jesse, say something, Che.
Peace, love, and black empowerment.
Thank you, brother.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Okay,
He's live.
He's live.
Yeah.
All right. Well, fellas, welcome to the Revolutionary Agenda, brought to you by myself, the Seduction Doll, of Frontline Black News co-host. And RAHMEL understanding of the FRONTLINEcampaign.org and everything Frontline. Today's topics are what's going on in the world, what's going on in the neighborhood near you, what's going on with this homelessness, and what are our agendas for it? What do we have to offer that isn't on the line of white supremacy? And what are we going to do? How are we going to enhance the new BLACC agenda and help them get their message out, as well as our message that is in accordance with them? Who wants to take the floor? Who wants to go first?
Okay, my name is RAHMEL Understanding.
Yeah.
Peace and blessings to everybody in the universe. I just want to say that everything, starts with power. Power, I see it as an acronym, POWER, which is people, objects, wealth, education, and resources. The people is the number one priority, because without people, you have nothing. And we need unity amongst each other. So the main thing is to bring the power to the people, bring the people together, and that way we can start resolving and solving our problems, within our communities. And the objects is that we need, things for ourselves. We need food, clothing, and shelter. And wealth, the greatest wealth is education right now. What we need is to be trained mentally, physically. We definitely need some culture in our life. And the resources is, opportunity. We need opportunities for the next generation. We need to pave the way for the next generation. We need to help the next generation.
Hold on, RAHMEL. Hold on, RAHMEL.
Yes.
Mr. Paris, we got feedback coming from your end. We know it's not. Yeah, a lot better. Okay, go ahead. Carry on, RAHMEL.
And our main objective is to help the Black people in America, because the diaspora, Blacks, which make up 85% of the slaves that came to the Western Hemisphere, they got all their own countries. You know what I mean? Yes. Haiti, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Virgin Islands, et cetera, right? Most of the places, they got their own countries, they got their own foundation. But we're talking about the Black men in America and the Black people in America, which made up 5% of the population of slaves that came to the Western Hemisphere, and 10% died at sea. So, I just believe that our strongest asset is the truth, and coming together with the truth, sharing enlightenment with each other and strategizing with each other and starting to organize with each other, because we really need a think tank, and we need to be diplomats. We need to go places and, bring people into the revolution that will add on to the revolution. I just believe that now is the time to make things happen. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Brother Yanga?
You know what? I think that's a good question. A couple of things that Brother RAHMEL Understanding hit on, that the God hit on, that I'll touch on. And the first question, though, is what I think asking ourselves as Black people here in America, what are our overall needs? And they are too numerous to name. Everything from just basic, essential needs to the end of systemic racism and racial practices against Black people here in America. So I think that Black people, what we can all agree on is that our human rights are being violated in every aspect, in the aspect of our homeless population, our brothers and sisters, and just homeless people in general, but specifically amongst the African and brown population, in the reports of police brutality, the murders by the armed wing of the state, which are known as the police, just in the disparaging numbers that we find. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, that we find perpetrated against us. So I say all that to say that once it becomes a human rights issue, once we say, hey, us as human beings are being denied the opportunity to evolve You know what I'm saying? Naturally. Then we have to look at the culprit. And the culprit becomes the state. Because the state's right is to ensure every so-called citizen in that state are afforded the basic essentials of life, which are food, clothing, shelter. I add the fourth one, which is healthcare. You know what I'm saying? So food, clothing, shelter, and proper healthcare, preventive healthcare and maintenance healthcare. So when we say that we understand it's the state, therefore we understand the ideology of revolution, that we are anti-oppression. So we unite with all revolutionaries on effort to end state oppression. Here's where our specific struggle comes in. It's because where most revolutionaries will stop, because they understand revolutionary China's, revolutionary white people, revolutionary Cubans, where they will stop because they don't have, their revolution wasn't based on, nor is their oppression based on race.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When we study Cuba, they fought a revolution amongst Cubans. When you study Chinese, they fought a revolution amongst Chinese people. It was purely a political, economic revolution. Our revolution is one of social, cultural, political, economic. We can get all the economics we want, but it will still never break that class barrier. We will still always be niggas and spics and every other demeaning and degrading epithet they can place on people of color. We will never break that class barrier. So with that understanding, that until we come together and understanding, until one of the things that I very strongly advocate is our coming together to understand that we constitute a nation based on the same experiences, oppression from the same oppressor, not on the ethnicity, nor on a title that we call ourselves, but on the very real experience. So I think that the unifying factor would be human rights for people over here in the United States, as Brother Malcolm said, because our human rights are being denied for no other reason that we're descendants of Africans or descendants of the indigenous population, more commonly referred to as Indians. Either way it goes, it smells doom for people of color.
Yes. I want to touch on that for a second, just real quick second. You know, growing up mixed, I grew up in a Chicano household because my father had died the day before I was born. And he was probably about Jesse's color. But he died, he passed away, you know, in a tragic motorcycle accident. He was in a coma for like about 6 months while my mother was pregnant with me. So I was raised with my brother's father in a Chicano household, and we came from East LA to suburbs of Aurora, Colorado at the time. And I was about 8. I think I was about 8. My brother was 6, and we were outside playing. I remember the first time that a white man had called me a spick, and I didn't even know what that meant. And he went as far as to go to say that to my father to wake him up. My father worked, when my mother had left us, my father worked like 3 jobs to support us and was doing the most to feed us, you know. And so I remember him saying that to my father, and me and my little brother were looking at him like, what does that mean? You know, we didn't know until it got later. When I went into the system, then people would call me, they called me a nigger, you know what I mean? And then when I got older, I was telling Jesse, first time I ever heard it said in Spanish, a Mexican lady who was living down the hallway, and it was like 6:30 in the morning, and I just came back from patrol. I was kind of tired, and it's just 6:30 in the morning. You know, it's way too early to be, you know, racially demeaning people, I believe. You know, I'm coming down the hallway in our building, and she called me a mayada. And I thought it was the most hilarious shit ever, because 90% of the time everybody looks at me and they like Jesse says, I'm racially ambiguous, so they can't tell from one day to the next what I am, you know what I mean? Or where some people will see me and they definitely see me as black first. Others will see me as my skin color. You know, but this day, this lady was going off in Spanish. And I was coming to my room and got to go open my door. And she's like, pinche maya, ta, 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 all this stuff in Spanish. And I just looked at her and was like, damn, you're like the same color as my mama. How you gonna call me? How you gonna call me the N word like that at 6:30 in the morning? At least ask me if I want some coffee.
Right,
You know what I mean?
okay.
And I thought it was hilarious to me. You know, as I went upstairs later,
Never too early for a bigot. It's never too early for a bigot.
I was like, God, and now we're in a state of age where they don't directly call us the N word. I don't like to say it because my best friend from South Africa said that the way it's said is very derogatory, and it's not like it's calling someone a king or a queen. You know what I mean? Like it referred to negus and things like that. So we don't try not to use it. I definitely don't use it in front of her because we had a long debate about it many years ago about how it seemed to be when gentrification started to come to the hood, white people would say that word so frivolously to us, and we would be like, "No, you can't say that, cuz," shit like that. You can't be saying that to us, and it'd be a whole big debate about it, and they'd be like, "Well, you can say it, yeah, we could say it, but we even know that even having those type of moments subconsciously, we shouldn't be saying it either." You know what I mean? And it's like the Boondocks. You know what I mean? There's like a lesson right there. Don't
But you
know what I mean?
But and not to cut you off, I just want to jump in there with you real quick. That's one of my points. Is fuck 'em. Are we allowed to say that on this show?
Yeah, we can say whatever we want.
Fuck that cracker.
It's not apologetic.
Fuck that cracker. It has to come a time when we as Black people stop feeling the need to explain our culture and our actions.
Exactly.
Our culture is simply a subculture or a reaction to the dominant, suppressive culture, which is a white male supremacist culture. And so what you have birthed in the Black culture is the reaction to that, whether they understand the psychology of it or not. Some of it is stress relief, some of it is vows. I've heard every reason why we use the word, some say to take the sting out, some, and it's a discussion that should be had and needs to be had within our community. But fuck that white man. The very fact that we're having that discussion is the white man's fault. The very fact we're calling ourselves anything other than the tribe or the land that we came from is a indictment against the white man. It's a indictment against the crime that the white people have perpetrated against Africa and our children. So I feel you on the discussion of the word, but my thing is I'd like to get back to the days of when we reinforced our shit.
Yeah.
If you use that word, that's your ass.
Yep. That's what I was sitting there talking about yesterday on patrol. I was like, I remember there was a time when, certain areas people were afraid to go into certain areas. Even when we were gangbanging, you didn't go to this area, you didn't go over to that area. And then now with gentrification, that is kind of like opened the doors for all sorts of different types of madness. And then even the harder areas are no longer that way because we've softened up due to the white man, you know what I mean, and their money. That's what I feel like it's happened, and I didn't really, I was surprised that I was commenting on black gardeners. Used to see nothing but Hispanic gardeners. They come and they clean the apartment complexes or they do a little landscaping. You saw nothing but Hispanic people. But I was over in Brother Che's father's area yesterday. I was patrolling. I was on my way to the doctor's office, and like I always start off saying, you got to patrol your own areas first before you go to other ones. And normally it depends on where I start from is where I start patrolling. And it's either in my neighborhood or sometimes Chase. And I ended up over there by his father's area. And I was just reflecting on it because I saw a whole truck full of brothers. Right? And I rode up on them and I was like, hey, how you doing? Because I say hi to everybody. I was like, hey, how you guys doing? You guys all right? All right, see you later, baby. Bye. Peace. And I'm on my way. And I was like, wow. I saw 2 or 3 sets of brothers doing landscaping work for separate apartments from Jesse's area to the east side, which is kind of like a straight drive through. If you take, I like to take side streets and back streets and just go down different avenues because I'm a lot of it is exploring, and I'm not getting to know the city, but I'm just remembering the routes I used to take when I used to jet off and do bad stuff. So I used to go around this way and that way. Police be following me. I'd dip down another alley. You know what I mean? Stuff like that when I was younger. And so now I just patrol the same areas, but sometimes I go down different routes. I try to figure out a different way to the doctor, whatever I'm doing. And I like to see that. And I wasn't cussing out the locals, but I was just telling him too, like, we live in this area and where everybody's profiting off of the homeless people. Okay, that's how I said it. Everybody has a job to do, right? So if we have to feed our family and we might be trapping or something like that, we're 90% of the time trapping off of homeless people. And I said, why not give back at the same time? If you're making money off of them, why not turn around and give back to them? Like bring some food, bring some water, shit like that. If you're worried about it, just send one of the little young bucks. They ain't got no manners anyway. You notice that? The young ones don't got no manners. They have no manners. There's no disciplines. There's no nothing. And I think too, like, we're hitting an age where we're about to start. What is that? Okay. Turn that off.
Meanwhile,
Turn that off.
back in Metropolis, Denver.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
What I was thinking, I'm sorry, I got like five lines reading. What I was thinking about. That's how you sing out again. Jeez, man. That's Brother Silo. Let me turn this down a little bit. Gosh. Ramel.
AT&T over there. You got it.
That was Ramel. Okay. Ramel, are you with us? Ramel. Okay, one more time. Call back one more time. Apparently I got disconnected with Ramel. He'll be right back. What I noticed is there's not a lot of. Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Don't hang up again. I'm just kidding. What I noticed is there's not a lot of disciplines, and we gotta move everybody into the right direction. There has to be a structure and an organization.
Yes, ma'am.
And I feel like there's gonna be a organization to it, and I don't know how to particularly organize these people, because like I was telling you, Brother Yanga, we live in a state. I heard that the demographics on it was 14% black people, and I'm still going with my initial assessment of 10% and 8% are coons. I was gonna go with my assessment, Brother Che. Since you were running for office here in 2023, what are your thoughts on our revolution or the way we're going? Because we are in a revolution now. Do you not feel like that, Brother Yanga? That we're in the revolution now?
Steps to it, yeah. We're in the process, absolutely.
Brother Chen Kruma.
What is the question? What is my reaction?
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts for you running for mayor in the city of Denver?
In relation to the revolution.
In relation to the revolution.
This is a revolution. The whole purpose of me running is for revolution. This is a straight up coup d'etat, straight up government takeover. We have to clean house. The city council has to be swept. The mayor's office has to be swept. These politicians are doing white supremacy's bidding. We can no longer tolerate it. We can no longer support it.
Ramel, are you in here, Ramel?
No, that ain't me.
Okay.
So I threw my hat in the ring for that specific purpose. There has to be a change, and it has to be ushered in now, not later. So
You getting some feedback, Che?
I don't know what to do.
It's on your end. It's not on our end. We know that for a fact. Okay, go ahead. Hey, Ramel?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. So you feel like, which I'm in agreement with. I feel like we need to clean out the whole thing in Colorado, at least in Colorado, as far as government is concerned. I feel like nobody is really with us. They're all against us. It's all about an agenda. It's all financially influenced. From what I've learned from you over the last 9 months, it's been like constant bickering for the shit we need that we can't get or that we can get, but they don't want to disperse it. And I've seen that so many times now with our city. You know, as far as the homeless people are concerned, especially as far as the homeless people are concerned, because I believe that's where my wheelhouse is for where I like to discuss things. As far as everything else, I'm not really familiar on or really has anything to. It all pertains to us at the end of the day, but for some reason, I'm not familiar with a lot of things that are going on, like the zoning stuff. That stuff you always have to educate me on, Jesse. Yeah, I mean, so. But right now with the homeless situation, that is really where I feel like I strive. I also feel like they don't disperse the money. They don't disperse housing appropriately. They put us in fucking programs that are designed for us to fail or be discriminative against with certain people, things like that. I feel like it's just not it's not designed to be fair or equal or anything like that. Go ahead, Ramel.
I was going to say, in the years that I've known Brother Che and Kuma, I could say that the brother, he really been dedicated to the community, and the brother really been on this political thing. I remember when we first started with Sekou back in, I think 2000 something, 2000 and I want to say 14. What was our first campaign for mayor?
2011 was the first campaign.
Yeah, 2011. Well, when we started the campaign, it was hard, to really, get signatures and stuff like that. And now we have access to the Unity Party, and we're all part of the Unity Party, and that's helping out a lot. But I just want to say that I'm in total agreement with everything you do, brother. You have my support. And one thing that I agree with you on is that we do need to attack politically. That's the only way to clean house and, do something effective. I think we need to attack politically, diplomatically. That's the only way we're going to make a strong effect socially, in the community. And I think that politics is a weapon right now, to get what we need to get as a revolution right now. And I just want to say I commend you, brother. That's all I want to say.
Thank you.
Diego?
Absolutely. I mean, when we talk about Black political involvement, I think that that's a necessary step for revolutionaries, for the revolution, with the understanding that we don't believe that the solution will be found in the politics. No. You understand? We believe that the politics must be addressed because most laws and legislations are used to suppress the people. Ernesto Che Guevara once said in guerrilla warfare that wherever there is a democracy or the semblance or the appearance of a democracy, armed revolution will never be successful, in so many words. What did Che mean by that? Wherever there's a democracy or the illusion of a democracy, the resemblance of a democracy, if you try to go in there and remove that person with arms, the people will think that you have usurped their choice, their vote, or their right, because they believe that it's a democracy taking place. So our participation, by this being the illusion of a democracy, armed revolution right now would just be a waste of time. It would be a criminal act, because you wouldn't have the masses of people support. The masses of people believe in the so-called democratic process. If not, they wouldn't be able to continue to perpetrate this fraud. So what has to happen as a necessary revolutionary step is that we expose the hypocrisies and the contradictions in legislation. We expose where the state is either being willfully or unable to take care of her so-called citizens. We begin to expose the difference between a citizen and a denizen, which I believe that Black people in America are. I believe that we're denizens. And once we expose this to the people and not just the masses, here's the importance, and this could be another discussion, of getting the intelligentsia or the petty bourgeoisie, knowing the difference between Uncle Toms and Sambos. Yeah. Uncle Toms can be saved. Yeah. Uncle Toms can be saved. Uncle Tom you usually will find is the Negro that believes in integration, that believes in being like, if we're making headways, white people ain't that bad. If we just do this, we could get a little something. They don't intentionally want to sell out Black people. They believe that their achievement to success is equated to white people. Now the Sambo, that's that nigga. Niggas ain't shit. You can't work with niggas. Fuck a nigga. I will never do business with a nigga. Sambos, you need to line a Sambo up and just shoot a fucking Sambo. So there's a difference. And we have to learn the difference, because a lot of our Uncle Toms is where a lot of our economics are going to come from. A lot of them are the business owners. A lot of our Uncle Toms that we classify as Uncle Toms will be the continuation or the administrators of a lot of institutions. You got to remember, I advocate revolution, not anarchy. I don't want a complete destruction of every institution. We don't have schools. We don't have, I'm not anti-policing. I'm anti-state policing. I'm anti-oppressive policing. I believe we as a community should form our own policing group and defy the rules of policing. So I do believe that law and order should be had. I said all that to say this, that the only way to begin to do that is to participate in the political process. A lot of people, the last thing that it is beneficial for our participation in the political process, and for brothers like my man Shay, is because everyone talks about the revolution. Everyone talks about, and RAHMEL can identify with this, nobody talks about the build and destroy. Everybody talks about the destroy. Mm-hmm. Right? Everybody talks about the destroy. Nobody talks about the build. So what we find is we talk about the revolution and fighting the revolution, but what after the revolution? How will we rebuild ourselves as a nation? And how will we govern ourselves? If we don't have people who have participated in the political process, if we haven't ourselves become aware of the making political process, I know a lot of people don't know the three legislations of three bodies of government. You see what I'm saying? So if we don't understand how we've been oppressively governed, then the only thing we do, then we don't know how to govern ourselves independently, because we haven't even understand semblances of government, from reading Plato's Republic or fucking the governance of Rome or Africa to America in her inception. So what we fall in danger of doing is what happened in the revolution of Algiers, when they ran France ass up out of there. They practiced neo-colonialism. They say, we find in the writings that the Algerian revolutionaries were worse than the fucking French oppressors. They were worse. Why? Yeah. Because they hadn't established their own system of governance. So this is why I advocate my brother getting involved, us getting as many people as we can behind it. We know at the end of the day, he's only going to get so far. Even if he wins the mayor, he's going to get so far. Even if he wins the presidency, he only gets so far because of the system. But what he would have done along the way is expose the contradictions.
Yes.
Yeah, the last race he got 15,000 votes, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, the last race you got 15,000 votes with no money, right?
Wow. Wow.
Right,
Impressive,
Jay?
black man. That's what I'm talking
Yes.
about.
That's
Yes.
strong, well, brother. That's strong.
Yeah, that's quite impressive, I think, in my mind. Uh, Not because that's my mate or
But
anything, but that's impressive.
can I say one thing, Queen, real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Brother Yanga, I want to add on to that build aspect. Build is gradual improvement, and things only happen gradually. So we're not making instant popcorn. It's not going to happen overnight, and that's what a
No.
lot of people don't understand. You
That's
know,
right.
understanding is patience, and we got to exercise understanding and patience in this revolution because everything is strategic, everything is organized, and everything is systematic. And, it's a domino effect, and we got to be careful how we move because, we don't want to commit revolutionary suicide.
Right on, brother. Right on.
Right. And Brother Yanga, can you please
Yes.
tell us about can you please tell the people about People for the People? We're gonna start uh endorsing it and publicizing it here in Colorado. But can you please tell the people about yours and Sister Amina Shabaz's organization, People for the People?
Absolutely. People for the People is really, and I have to give this sister credit, was the brainstorm of Sister Mina Shabazz, who I'm not going to put her ex-husband out there. She might not like that, but her ex-husband is very renowned in the Black Panther world, and so she's had a lot of experience, a lot of behind the scenes on parties and movements. And so what she saw was a void or a disconnect between the masses and the parties. When she explained that to me, I was like, "You're absolutely right." The everyday person who is battling with their day-to-day activities, the dialectics of their day-to-day existence, really aren't exposed to the level of revolution that a lot of us are or have been. And so we understand that the revolution is for the people, and the people don't understand what you're doing. That's, shit, we didn't did half the job of the enemy. This is how the enemy a lot of times are able to criminalize us. Listen, our lack of attachment to the revolution, and this is not to digress, I'll get right back to it, is one of the reasons that we can still have political prisoners being held on criminal charges. You understand what I'm saying? Anywhere else in the world, they would have been released as political prisoners, people who are political dissidents or have an opposing political view to the government which they reside in. A lot of governments you will find will have given these people options to go to other nations. You don't agree with our thing, but since we haven't elevated our struggle, since our people haven't understood Black revolutionary struggle in America, we allow the state to hold these people under criminal charges. And they are not criminal charges. They are international charges. They are the charges of, they're really the result of a failed wage revolution. But those people are being held under criminal charges, criminal penalties, and being mistreated. They're political prisoners, free them all. But I said that, so what we understood with People for the People was we needed an organization that was more than just grassroots, was dirt root. And that went back and explained how, like Deputy Chair Fred Ham Sr. said of the Chicago Black Panther Party Self-Defense, politics is everything, everything is politics. To go back and explain how your everyday living is attached to your liberation struggle. You know what I'm saying? That's what people, something as showing them something like we were talking about the other night, you guys, consumer power. We may not have production power, but we have consumer power. Things of that nature. Accountable spending. Where do you spend your money? We talk about in P4P just good dietary practices. Understanding that, starting with the basic with you, good dietary practices for health, which ultimately ties into why our neighborhoods are food deserts. Why white people neighborhoods got certain grocery stores and ours have certain grocery stores. Why white people have certain fast food places, and I can't find a Chick-fil-A in the hood to save my life. Ain't no Chick-fil-A. Popeye's chicken.
Yeah.
No Chick-fil-A.
That's
So
true.
I have a Chick-fil-A next door to where I live, so I'm kind of privileged in that sense.
oh, see,
But
you must.
I know
Is
what
it an
you're saying.
integrated? Is it an integrated neighborhood?
Yes.
Go to like when I'm Atlanta, go
That's
to a straight.
expensive, mad expensive. I don't advocate for that. I'm like, I'm still cheap. I'm like, God, man, the chicken sandwich is not
And
like
listen,
$4.
it's all fluff. You $5 for a little piece of chicken on a bun, no condiments, no mayonnaise, no mustard,
Just
no
a
lettuce,
pickle.
a pickle. You dig? So it is all fluff. Excuse me, but I say that to say so when we start to tie these things in, when people can understand how it affects them directly, they want to know who's oppressing them. And then they start getting, like we talk about the homeless, and I'm not going to be long. Once we start to address that immediate issue, getting the water, getting what we can, then we want to start looking at, well, who's holding the fucking money up? What are these shelters doing? And this is where, like you said, Jesse and stuff and other politicians come into play. We hold them accountable. Even if we got to come to a council meeting with 100 homeless people. Do it.
That's right.
Yep.
It's easy for them to make laws without having to see their constituents. Without having to see, they sit up high and make the law. Then the guy in the bulldozer comes and rams their shit away. They never see that.
Yeah.
Show up to the meeting with them. Let them see that they're human beings. And while you're destroying, nobody we're here because this is the so-called Latin life, and we've accepted that, but now we want to hold you accountable. Where is the assistance? No human being should have to live like this. Right. The wealth disparity is sick. How is it I can go across town and someone have a 6-bedroom home, and then right across the damn street, there's someone with a tent?
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So we're saying when we're getting money for these parks, when we're getting money for Weed Fest, when we're getting money for all these festivals, where is the money for our homeless population? What are our shelters doing? What's allocated for us? So we stay on top of those people. And you have a constituency right there with the homeless and groups that advocate and care for the homeless.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're very few.
Who's closing the shelter, brother?
Yeah.
Well, that's the base right there. The base is the unhoused and the poor. So that's why my slogan when I ran in 2019 was justice for the poor, people over profit. We have the opposite happening. We have injustice for the poor and profit over people.
Yes, that's true. It's disgusting. It is really disgusting.
Indeed.
Do you guys have
so
I just wanted to say one thing dealing with my own personal revolutionary history. And man, since I was a kid, man, I always respected Panthers. I always wanted to be a Panther, and I got a lot of respect for Panthers. I just want to say that, or anybody involved in the revolution to that extent.
Oh, that's what's up, brother.
Right.
We are happy that you decided to allow us to align ourselves with you, and you align yourselves with us.
Yes, for real. Salute from the Frontline campaign, for real.
We are extremely ecstatic about this. From our end, myself, I'm sure Jesse really never has really a lot of facial expressions, but I'm sure he's ecstatic as well. But definitely myself and Ramel, because Ramel is Mr. Frontline everything, and I'm the one that does all the back work. So we're definitely excited about aligning ourselves with people for the people, and also being a part of your organization. Even if it's just a small part, it's still a big part for us.
You know what? There's no small part. There's definitely no small parts when it comes to the people.
Yeah.
I tell people that's like if I'm in a fight, and I'm in here with the Queen Annie, come get us. It's like I tell people if I'm in a fight, I want everybody to jump in. But if somebody stands on the sideline and starts screaming, I invite that too. Shit. If you calling for help, if you tell them to get off of me, whatever part you play, jump in if you can. But if you can't, if all you can do is scream, then scream your loudest.
Yeah. But we're excited.
Harriet. We with you, brother, all day.
Yeah, we're excited about going ahead and promoting that, because it is definitely going to like I tell Jesse, it's definitely going to be a big part of Jesse's campaigning and whatnot. I'm trying to keep myself going, just so that I can move the mountains to epic proportions. You know what I mean? I feel like we need. I know here in Colorado that we need a different perspective on the revolution, and definitely a different perspective of how to change things in a different mindset, a completely different mindset. This bougie shit that we've been living in has been a real detriment. I'm 41 years old. I've seen it in the worst way. Growing up, even here in Los Angeles, to see it change in a different direction, not just for myself, but I like to focus on at least the next generation, my children. You know what I mean? Because that's all I can really think about, how my movements will affect my children, and then later their children. You know what I mean? But right now, my children. So I want to be able to say that before I felt like probably wasn't doing much for the community, as now as I want to do more for them, because I see what it's like to be non-productive in society. And to be productive in society is like a thing everybody should try to strive for. Jesse's been a productive member of society for a minute. You know what I mean? And when I was talking to other adults the other day on the phone, I was just like saying that we need to be more productive, be of service. It's one thing to be black; it's another thing to not be in service, and to at least lead the program. You know what I mean? If there's no proper leaders out here to show what being in service is all about, then everybody's just on their own, not doing shit. You know what I mean? And the people don't get served. We don't get served as a community. Politics don't change. Things stay stagnant, and I want to be at least on the front line of that change. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Right. We got to be the change that we want to see.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody coming to save us. Ain't no savior. The savior is
no
you.
white savior.
Like
Yeah.
the Honorable John Hendrick Clark said, you want a friend? Look in the mirror. That's
Right
your
on.
friend.
That's right.
I feel the more of us that get on code, the more of us that get on one accord, we'll be better off as a people. Because right now there's a lot of chaos and confusion going on, and it's up to people like us to, set the record straight, put people back on the straight and narrow, show them how it's done. We got to lead by example.
Yeah, I also think too is that in regards to being codified, it is a completely different mindset. As far as like a lot of people, like you were saying, brother, a lot of people don't know certain things, but a lot of black people don't know the code. You know what I mean? Are not codified, and or are at least in progression of being codified. Yes, Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. Those books are intense. I'm a speed reader, and Jesse's always correcting me about how to read that book, because I'll read the whole book. But it's set in what you're supposed to read it day by day, Jesse?
Yeah, it's a textbook and it's a work guide.
Yeah. To be codified is a whole different thought process. And it's almost a whole different way of life. If you go according to Mr. Neely Fuller Jr.'s books on coding for the Black Code on how to conduct yourself as basically a foundational Black American AE code through the Black Code. It is a whole different mindset. And for me, growing up, well, for me, having a white mother, which my best friend would say is the root of all evil. Is the root of all evil, and behind every fucking supremacist is a white woman. Okay. So in regards to that, I have seen a lot of things growing up, and not really knowing my own history or anything of substantial fucking value being black in America or mixed in America, however you want to put it, black first in America, let's just put it that way. I felt like reading Mr. Neely Fuller Jr.'s books and listening to his audio and YouTube 1 hour sessions has really enhanced my life. It has caused me to think in the way I felt like people should think in regards to oppression and white supremacy, the treatment of black people in general. You know what I mean? What we shouldn't expect, what we shouldn't allow, what we shouldn't. It's like a whole system. And I say when black people say you're not on code, like that was said to us one time. It was actually said to Jesse, and I was like, no, Jesse probably the most on code individual. You know what I mean? I had to really take that analytically apart privately and to really think about it. And I think that when most people say you're not on code, it's only probably because it's a deflection of them not being on code themselves. Whereas me and Jesse are actually really, if it wasn't for Jesse, I probably wouldn't have been on code. And I want to say that. But now that I am, I'm following those guidelines. I'm following like how you directed me, Brother Yanga, to Frantz Fanon. A lot of different guidelines. And I feel like that is molding me in a special way. I said that is molding me in a special way. Because I've seen it, I'm seeing people being on code. Okay, this is what I'm saying. I'm on code. I'm seeing people for what they really are on the inside now. And following the line of thought about cognitive dissonance, certain things, certain different topics about the revolution, certain different leaders, the older leaders that are now ancestors. I am seeing people now for what they are on the inside versus not all skin folk is kin folk, right? Yep. And anybody could be a fucking supremacist at any given fucking point, depending on which way they want to lead that day. So I am seeing people now for how they are on the inside. You could be as dark as Jesse and still be a motherfucking supremacist. We have seen that. We have seen white people. I want to talk real quick on the health situation real fast. I've seen this in my own experiences over the last 3 weeks, where I'm in a serious health condition, but because I have white doctors, they don't want to take me seriously. So I have to reach out to my mate and tell him, hey man, I need a man to handle this, okay? Because a man's masculine vibration will be able to move this in the right direction of what I need. What I need is a doctor that's going to take my concerns very seriously, and I know that it's not going to come from a white doctor because I've experienced it. And whereas a white doctor might let me die, probably because he don't agree that I shouldn't take the vaccine or whatever. Like this doctor had tried to convince me yesterday I don't take the vaccine for whatever reasons. Probably from day one I've been saying my genetic code won't allow it, right? But because I didn't agree with what he was saying, he decided to take my health care as non-serious until I started to bring up certain situations. And then I got off the phone, I went outside, and this when women actually need men. Started crying and shit, and we're like, hey man, I need you to do what you do, which is use your masculine vibration to make this work for me. I might need a doctor that looks like you, because the one that's white, he don't even want to do more than one Mississippi on the fucking stethoscope, and I got a whole heart murmur on top of everything we guys were talking about. You didn't even mention it, so it's like I was like, I need some help, and that's when we know that two things: that the healthcare is in a state of fucking supremacy, meaning MHCD, or people who are dealing with mental health, as like I, myself, and RAHMEL, are in the hands of white supremacists. That means they don't want us to get better. They want us to be crazy so that they can lock us up. They want us to be sick so they can kill us. You know what I mean? And I'm seeing that now. I'm seeing that, and it all goes back to the fundamentals of the code. Certain teachers, certain things to look for that I would have never known to look for if I didn't reprogram myself. See what I'm saying?
That's right.
Yeah. So I want to say.
We're
gonna go ahead. Che, you got anything else?
Yes. We are at war, Black family, and this war is in 9 areas of activity: entertainment, education, labor, politics, sex, war, religion, and economics. These are the 9 areas of human activity of which we are at war under the system of racism, white supremacy. And as long as the system of racism, white supremacy exists, there can never be no justice on this planet. So we have to replace this system. And it's going to be a gradual process. It's not going to be overnight. It's going to be a marathon, not a sprint. But we have to replace the system with a system of justice, guaranteeing that those that need the most constructive help get it, and no one is mistreated by the color of their skin. So that's what I'm striving for. That is my goal, and I would love for it to be the collective masses goal of our people, because we are at war, family, and the quicker that we acknowledge that and start waging back, not with guns, but by creating our own institutions, by creating our own system that will parallel, if not triumph it over this current system, we're going to be in the same state. And that is insanity. If we just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again and expecting a different result, that's insanity. So we have to get out of the state of insanity and actually get into a system of justice.
Indeed.
Brother Yenge, closing statement?
Yeah, like, I can appreciate everything everyone said. It's real enlightening. And it goes back to like what Brother Jesse is saying, our Brother Che is saying. And I tied into the critical race theory. I encourage everyone to check out critical race theory, which is overall overview says that ingrained in the American government and in the American psyche and attitude of our people is racism. So that once Black people understand that racism, your inferiority, is already gained in the laws, it's ingrained in the laws, it's ingrained in the attitude. If it wasn't, we wouldn't have to keep making amendments and having laws to include us as a people, to recognize us as citizens. So with that understood, allow that just to be a vehicle. Like Jay was saying, it's a process, not an event. It's I think it's a marathon, not a sprint. Allow that to be the vehicle, with the overall end results being revolution, a complete change of the system. And that starts with changing with us. We can start with something as simple as accountable spending. Know who you spend your dollars with. We complain about Trump. We complain about atrocities in Africa or everywhere else in the world. Do these companies you spend your dollar with, what are their lobbies lobbying for in the White House, at DC? Are they advocating the rape of Africa? When you buy these big tires, do they advocate the coup d'etats and all the other atrocities that happen in the Congo for rubber trees? When you're buying this bling and this diamond, are they blood diamonds? Is it at the exploitation of women and children in Africa? When you're spending this money, where does it go? When you spend this money, do they endorse and support Trump campaigns? Hell, we cry about it, but a lot of these companies endorse these people and we go gobble up their products. So it's just about accountable spending. In my conclusion, I would say we use as example the Jewish people. You would never find a Jew spending $1 with anyone that supported Nazi Germany. Not $1. In fact, if the government supported anyone that sponsored Hitler or was down with the Nazi party during World War II, then the Jewish community would have a fit. They're still looking for war criminals, but they do this through strong social power, meaning they're collective. Everybody knows who the Jews are, even though you got Hasidic, this Jew, that Jew. You got different branches of Jews, but everybody knows the Jews is, and through political and economic power. They understand the power of the dollar. Once we understand the power of consumer power, we can begin to look at productive power. But so just saying all that to say, just accountable living. Let's be accountable for our actions. Just accountable living. Let's be black.
Yeah.
Black first.
That's it.
Yeah, black first.
Black power.
Ramel?
Black power.
Yeah, black power. Ramel, you got a closing statement?
Yes, I do. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the Revolutionary Agenda. My name is Rahmel Understanding, the angel of peace from the east. Understanding and understood in the neighborhood near you, bringing the hope without the dope official frontline campaign. Salute to the fallen soldiers. I just want to say, it's all about justice, man, and fighting for justice and destroying injustice. And when I look at justice, I'm looking at 100% righteousness, purity, pure heart, pure mind, pure heart. And I just think that, sometimes you can be just and merciful, but sometimes you got to be ice cold and calculated and start regulating. And that's what we need to start doing, is taking action, and dissatisfaction brings about change. I never settle for less. And, I don't give a damn about the rest. I don't give a fuck about the devil. You know what I mean? And my whole objective is to dethrone the devil, and put our people on top. And that's all I want to say. Frontline.
All right. My closing statement is thank you, everybody, for watching the Revolutionary Agenda, aka the RVA. Seduction. That's what it's called, the RVA. You're welcome. Seduction doll from Frontline Black News with Ramel Understanding for the Frontline campaign, Frontline everything. Also check us out on Shabaka's Black Experience on Tuesdays via Blog Talk, and Saturday nights with myself, Ramel Understanding, Shabaka Sankori, and of course, Mr. Che and Kruma, and Brother Yenga. We are very happy and pleased that you had decided to join us.
Thank you so much, brother.
And we hope that it could be a regular thing with you. If you'd like to come on regularly, we are part of the Black New Media, but during the day, bringing revolutionary change and stuff. And next week's topics are going to be how to make our communities a little bit more self-reliant in the case or the off chance that the government decides to shut off water and electricity. You know what I mean? So that's next week's topic.
Listen, I'm down. I appreciate being invited to be a part of. I'm down with anything Frontline. I think the issues have to be addressed and tackled. A lot of people are side skirting and dancing around it. I appreciate being a part of a panel that's not afraid to get down there and get with it. So that's what's up. Good luck on the run, Che. You definitely in our prayers and best wishes and shit. We need more people like that. And the people out here listening that's going to tune in, man, get involved in the local politics in your area. There's nothing, political apathy. The lack of participation in politics and learning about politics is one of the biggest weapons that the devil is using to keep us down. You don't get involved with politics, but politics damn sure involves itself in your life. Everything from what you're taxed to whether or not you can hang in a group of 3 or more, being considered a gang. Everything is politics. Know what these crackers are plotting and planning for you. So endorse and support your local Black politician. Get in there and make sure that they're talking for you.
Right.
Yeah. Now, do you have politicians like Mr. Nkrumah in your area?
Yeah, absolutely. Down in Georgia, I don't know if you were up on the news that with these new voter laws, or really just voter restriction laws, Georgia's pissed because it has been historically it's been Republican. It's been Republican up until really just the last election where the Democrats have just swept. And so now they're doing Black people really got out and got involved in the political process. So now they've come up with all these laws to restrict that. What just really shows is the political power. But in places where Black people are the predominant, you're going to have that. I wanted to say this, though, in closing, in my conclusion. Even in places where we're not the predominant, the platform that our dear brother Che is running on is very, and I use this, I don't want to kill his campaign, but it's socialist because it's very social oriented. So let me say that. So we have European comrades who share and feel the same way. Sometimes we're not in the position of power to get exactly what we want when we want it. So these allies who have the same interests as far as states' involvement in the human life and states' responsibility to human life and aiding human development, if they share those concerns, I think that we should really consider aligning ourselves with them as long as we're going down the same road, never forgetting our main objective, but to knock out these small little obstacles that may be in the way. So politically, I say that to say if we're not where we want to be politically number-wise, there's still allies out there that even if our race, even if our particular run doesn't get that I support, they will look for our support. So we just have to make sure that if we lend our support, we say, hey, I didn't have it, but I got this many votes, this many supporters. I'm bringing them to you. What are you willing to do for my people? If I endorse you and bring my people to you, what are you willing to do for my people to help you win this election? So we got all kind of powers and positions we can play from.
Yes. Excellent. Good perspective. I want to thank the people for watching. And hopefully it'll get out to you guys.
You want to finish with water?
No, I want to finish with power. I like power.
Okay.
Also, I want to say that power is taken, ladies and gentlemen, not given. And politics is going to get cold, very cold here shortly. So as we stand behind Jesse LaShawn Paris, running for mayor in Denver, we also stand behind the message, and we are very, very thankful for People for the People standing behind us and with us, and we are standing behind them and with them.
Right on.
I will be calling you, Mr. Yenga, here shortly with Jesse, because we have an appointment with Sister Amina here in a little bit. And we're going to end our show with power from RAHMEL Understanding. RAHMEL, do you want to explain power real quick, since you were sick last time?
People, objects, wealth, education, and resources. Right. They're mandatory for life.
Yes, let's get it going. Okay, we're ending with a little spoken word. Thank you for watching. Like us, subscribe, all that good shit. Okay, hold on.
Like we always do. Peace, danger and peace from the east. Familiarity breeds contempt. Sometimes we invite problems into our lives by being too lax. Being too kind with so-called friends and acquaintances causes us to overlook the snake in our circumference. This evil cobra is ready to strike us down with the deadliest and most poisonous venom. When the snake does strike, it catches us off guard. Thus we become a victim to the very enemy we ourselves have bred and allowed to be in our midst. In these current times, the majority of the world's population has embraced the pursuit of power. The hunger for power has become the driving force of humanity. The evil snakes of society seek power to manipulate the people and to unjustly reap riches off the blood, sweat, and tears of others. The so-called elite utilize the power of indoctrination to push their abominational agendas. Beware of the power of propaganda and beware of the power of suggestion. The so-called elite continue to exploit the ignorance of the common people. But one day soon, the so-called elite will fall victim to the very lies they have fabricated. Truth be told, there are 5 forms of power. The 5 forms of power: people, objects, wealth, education, and resources. Power is an item, an idea, or an individual that helps and gives one the advantage to take advantage of an opportunity. People are a good source of power because people accomplish things easy as a team, and people working together as a unit are more influential and effective than a single individual. Sometimes it ain't what you know, but who you know that serves as a resource to accomplish a feat. The power of diplomacy helps one deal with people on all social levels. Diplomacy is shaking the hand you don't want to shake and saying the words that are needed to keep situations flowing smoothly without too much friction or opposition. Sometimes a quiet smile and a simple nod has the power to move mountains. Never take for granted the power of a friendship, nor the power of an ally. A small rapport is enough to open the door to ultimate success. The negative aspects of life also contain power. Be cautious of the power of hate, because you never know how hate will arrive in your midst, nor will you know how hate will manifest itself. Innocence has no knowledge of how the malicious power of hate works. Love is blind and susceptible to the malicious attacks of others. A loving person can easily become a victim of hate. Simplicity is more of a vice than a blessing. Therefore, the common folk must be well-rounded in all dimensions of knowledge and power in order to survive reality. Do not be fooled by luxuries, objects, and wealth. In the world of the so-called elite, luxury and wealth are the ultimate symbols of power, but these powers are not enough to give one true peace, nor can they help one find true love. But in retrospect, the fact is that with luxury and wealth, one can be more comfortable in the harsh conditions of reality. Power is the capacity to do. We are blessed with the power to see and hear, etc. Consider yourself blessed to have the power of mind. Be grateful for having the power of life and blessed to be alive. It is better to give than to receive. There is power in virtue and selfishness, but the power of selflessness is truly more powerful. All power is generated internally before it is manifested externally. This is science power. Peace to the gods of earth and the lost 5%. RAHMEL and Sin Angel. Peace from the east, bringing the hope without the dope. Peace.